distinguish themselves nationally through their career achievement and meaningful contributions to society while promoting the values of education and academics. The award was created in part to recognize Dick's passion and support for the academic All American program for over 30 years, and more importantly, his dedication to education for more than 4 decades. There is no one who I am more proud to give this award to than Florida State Seminole football legend, NFL star, College Football Hall of Fame honoree, and the winner of this year's 2024 Dick Enberg Award, Warrick Dunn. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Back when we had that, but I'm a hugger. I'm so sorry. There have been people who won this award, like Billie Jean King, Mike Krzyzewski, Bill Walton, US President Gerald Ford, and all of them, like you, have displayed passion for the ideals of this award. Now you're representing Florida State and Seminoles. What does an award of this magnitude with the line of people who have received it mean to you?
Well, I appreciate the award, but I think the individuals you just named are great human beings, and I'm honored to be a part of that class. I can say that just growing up, understanding, a lot of society issues, just conversations with individuals. I mean, I have my little league coach, Pops, who's like my father figure who taught me. When I went to Florida State, I had Coach Bobby Bowden, who was just a tremendous human being who really gave me guidance during troubling times in my life. So you have individuals that are helping you along your path. I mean, again, I'm honored to be in that, just being in the same, being mentioned with those individuals.
It is something to be mentored and helped by people like that. And Coach Bowden was one of the best we've ever had. But there's something special in you that they saw, that they wanted to mentor, and they saw in you. What do you think that was?
Well, I was a rebel as a football player. I was always going against the grain. I mean, Coach Bowden gave me an opportunity because every school recruited me to play defensive back, and I didn't want to do that. And I just said, Coach, I want to play running back. If it doesn't work out, I'll move to defensive back. And he just told me deal. And he believed in me, but he also understood what I was going through. I just lost my mom during the recruiting process, and he understood me in a sense. And he was someone that actually met with me when I was there. We used to meet every couple weeks. I used to go to his office and we would sit down and just talk about life. He was someone who was really guiding me. So he was the one I think believed in me. And plus, I was only 155 pounds when I went to college so, as a running back. So he believed in me. He gave me an opportunity. And then I think over a course of time, I really started to show and prove to him that, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to work as hard as I can and prove to everybody that I can do it.
You had a really intriguing NFL career, 12 years. You were phenomenal, unprecedented as a player. But this is so fascinating to me because while you were playing, you showed this level of curiosity and interest in operations, business, branding. You built a strong relationship with the Falcons owner, Arthur Blank. And after your last season, you became a limited partner in the Falcons. We don't see that happening with players. Where did that curiosity and interest come from? And how did that early mentorship with the Falcons change your life?
Well, I would tell you when I first met Mr. Blank in 2002, we talked about community. We talked about football. I didn't have a conversation about football until right before I signed. And, just being able to pick up the phone and call him personally and talk to him about just life, things in the community, we built a really good relationship. But I think he started to understand that my life just wasn't focused on football. It was focused on the things around me. And towards the end of my time in Atlanta, he was like, hey, so what are you going to do after football? Do you want to coach? Do you want to, be a trainer? I was like, no, I'd rather just be up there with you in the box. So you have to send a signal of what you want. And I sent a signal, and when the Falcons released me, he had a conversation with me, so like, hey, one day I would just love to call your apartment. And I still had no idea what that meant. And then I went to Tampa for a year, then I retired. Then he had to convince me. He had 3 meetings with me. He was a billionaire. He cooked me dinner one night to say, hey, this is what I think you should do. And I was just like, you know what, it makes sense. Let me just go see if I can, not change my lifestyle too much and invest in the Falcons. And I decided to do that. And it's been remarkable. But one of the things that I did too is that when I became a partner, I wanted to prove to all my other partners that I had the business acumen. So I decided to go back to school. I went to Emory University in Atlanta and got my master's in business just to prove that I could, you know, be on that level. Since all of those guys are billionaires already, I just wanted to prove that I can talk their language and understand business like they could.
I'm seeing a theme in your life. You like to prove yourself. You want to prove people wrong. You want to prove people right that believe in you. Someone who I know believed in you a lot was your mother, and you have started a charity, the Warrick Dunn Charities, because your mom thought it was important for single families to have homes and that people could have pride in themselves.
Mhm.
What has been important to you that you have done in that community and proving that people belong and they have somewhere they can be?
Well, it was my mom's dream, home ownership, being a police officer in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, only making $36,000. She sacrificed her life. And to understand and be the oldest of six, understand what her issues were, what she had to do. And I was challenged by another great mentor, Coach Tony Dungy, about getting involved and giving back. And I just thought about my mom and her issues. How can I go and help other kids not go through what I had to go through? Because when I lost my mom, I 2 days after my 18th birthday, I had to become a full grown adult and take care of my brothers and sisters. And that was really more of my mission and how I was driven early on in life, but it became a reality that when she wasn't there anymore. But I understood that I didn't grow up in a house where I can create memories. I didn't have a place that I could actually call home. We were renting. We moved 3 or 4 different times because when she was a police officer, she's the security at an apartment complex. We could stay for free, but that didn't last. So she wanted us to have a stable environment, a stable place, the place that we can call home and have memories and great memories. And that's the one thing that I felt like if I can go and help other kids not experience what I went through, because not every kid is going to respond to the trauma the way that I did. And I think I was just raised where I didn't necessarily take it out. I mean, of course, I was mad. You want revenge, but I also knew that I had 5 other people that I need to make sure that I take care of, and I want to set an example for them. And so Homestead Holidays was born because I just thought about the other kids. And now we're up to 223 single parent families that we've been able to help, going on 27 years of work. So thank you for that. Thank you.
It's truly incredible. I mean, you are making children feel safe and putting homes, roofs over their head. It's really remarkable. I know you did a lot on the football field.
Well, I was running for my life, just so y'all know.
And trying to prove everybody wrong.
Well, I was going to do that.
It does not compare to what you have done in life off the field. And we are so grateful to you and the example that you set, that we all need to try to give back in a really meaningful way that will impact lives. And that's what you've done. You are the Dick Enberg Award winner. Can't think of anyone better. Warrick Dunn, congratulations.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Unbelievable guy who's going to speak to our team.
These three.
And then we got sports betting there. Okay. I will stop sharing my screen here. All right. Great opportunity for us. All right. To talk to a legend, both on and off the field. Not sure when he's going to, pop in here, but when he does, really excited to have him on. Guys, with the questions, introduce yourselves, be respectful. He's taking time out of his day. If you guys have, pen and paper, make sure we take notes. All right. We learn from this guy. should be an awesome thing. Good.
Thanks, Coach. Let me just a couple of words before he joins. It'll be in the next couple of minutes. When we set up this Be a Force speaker series, and this is the second time we've had a chance to talk to the football team. Frank D'Amelio from Pfizer was with us last year. Some of you may recall. But I just remind you, I like to state the obvious because it makes me feel intelligent. I do it quite a bit. And Be a Force is a real simple formula. You guys see it all in the banners across Bentley, but what is it? Yeah, you want to be a badass. You want to be
Take your paused here.
focus on community service. And there is just no better example. There's no better role model than Warrick Dunn. None. Right. So if I look over the dozen or so incredible former incredible student athletes, what these folks have done as they've left university and gone on, not all have had an incredible pro career, and I believe soon to be Hall of Famer, Warrick Dunn, incredible success in the pros. But again, most of Holly's questions, and I was there, I had the pleasure of being in the audience during that interview, and people were on the edge of their seats because you see an awful lot of people who have done great things after school in their career, but the amount of community engagement, I mean, taking care of people, giving them homes. By the way, that 220 numbers, I think, is well over 300 now. So this is a focus, and you can see, and I know you guys have seen that video maybe 2 or 3 times now. I've probably seen it 10. All right. Yep. I see Be a Force again. Think about community, right? And you guys are active in the community now, right? And coach has done a great job. All the coaches have done a great job emphasizing that your ripple effect, the impact you have, is beyond the football field. So I'll just leave it there. I think Warrick will be joining us any minute. But again, thanks for your attention. By the way, don't want to miss the opportunity to say congratulations on that last win. I mean, there are wins and there are wins. I mean, there are statements, and then Bentley football made a statement. So I know it's a week off. I know you got some other things coming up, but congratulations on pulling it all together, all 3 parts, all 3 phases of the game. Falcons flew high that day. I know they will again.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate it. Let's give it up.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Warrick.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us. We just ran the Holly Rowe video of you receiving the Enberg Award. I know that Coach Scarpa has updated the members of our football team on your incredible background. We're going to go right to some questions.
Okay, that works.
He's been freezing a little bit. Warrick, CJ Scarpa, Coach Scarpa here for the Bentley Falcons. We're in Waltham, Massachusetts. Actually, we're one of the rival schools. It's funny enough, one of the rival schools that recruits, student athletes against Babson. I know where, Mr. Blank went to college. So
Yes.
really, has some really great, student athletes. We're excited to have you. Thank you very much, for joining us. And we have some, great young student athletes who are excited, to ask you questions and learn from you. So thank you for your time.
Appreciate you guys inviting me. I'm honored, and I appreciate that. And I won't tell Mr. Blank.
Appreciate it.
So you just anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna start it off. First,
Okay.
to introduce myself, my name is Pat Damon. I'm a grad student here at Bentley, and I'm the captain of the team. And so, first off, I just kind of wanted to be on behalf of the entire team, just thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. We definitely appreciate the opportunity to learn from everything you've been through, both as a student athlete and as someone who's made such a big impact off the field throughout your leadership and community work. So, like I said, on behalf of everybody, I think we're just really grateful to have you here. I appreciate you taking the time. As for my question, you have been through a lot in your life that has taken a lot of mental toughness. I just kind of wanted to know how you define that term, mental toughness, and how has it helped you both on and off the field?
Well, I know I appreciate that, and I would say mental toughness. I know that's always difficult because, you know, sometimes as men, we try to be hard, right? And we try to show people that we can get through things, but we all need support. And for myself, you know, but 10 years after my mother's death, I didn't go to counseling. I didn't seek anything. You know, I know that it was affecting certain areas of my life. But on the football field, I was so determined just to prove the next guy to me that, hey, I'm better than you. We're gonna, you know, I'm gonna show you that I can play at this level. I can play here, play there. But I think overall, the mental toughness can't be where I'm trying to be hard, you know. The mental toughness is, you know, you got to do what's in your best interest, right? And each other's best interest. We can challenge each other. We can help each other be the best that we can be. But at the same time, you know, we're all on a path to help each other be the best that we can be. And for me, you know, at first going to Florida State University after high school, you know, when you're on the field with Coach Bobby Bowden, you got the Derek Brookses of the world, all these guys, you know, it was a challenge for me to one, help them be better, but also help myself be better. And as an athlete, the mental toughness is not you trying to do it all on your own. It's you pushing yourself to be the best that you can be, but also as a teammate, you want to challenge each other to step their game up, always show up. And when you can do that, that really helps create that balance, definitely on the football field. But when we're talking getting away from the football field, you know, it's about you and your future so that you guys, I mean, you saw my video, but I also say that for years, I mean, everything that I did, I didn't tell anybody. You know, I had private conversations with Charlie Ward in our dorm when I was a freshman and he was a fifth year senior rooming with me, you know, just looking after me. You know, I was just going through so much, but I had someone that I could, you know, who was an outlet for me. And being an outlet really helped me get the things I was dealing with on the inside because I was always worried about back home. I was always worried. You know, I left my brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest. I've raised them since I was like 12 years old. I wanted to make sure that they were good, but I also had someone who helped me, you know, to stay in a place of comfort and security, but also push me, hey, you know, grandmother's there, you know, you have family, friends back at home, but at the same time, I know that now you also have things that you want to do for yourself. But once you do it for yourself, you're also going to help them and take care of them. So it was like a driving force for me. So having that mental balance is sometimes a struggle, but you can't be afraid. I would say anybody, you can't be afraid to ask for help. You know, sometimes, like I said earlier, sometimes we are hard, not realizing that, you know, it's actually cool, okay to ask for some help, to ask for some assistance. It doesn't make you a weak individual. It actually makes you stronger because, you know, one, you know, you stepped up and did something that you probably wouldn't have did, but you accomplished whatever goal or thing that you needed to accomplish. But now it's, you know what, I took that step, I asked for a little help. I can, you can continue to move forward with those steps of taking ownership of some things. So I definitely, you know, would encourage you guys to rely on each other, challenge each other, but rely on each other, help each other be the best young men that you guys can be. Next question.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mr. Dunn. My
Yes.
name is Casey Trodden. I'm a senior linebacker and special teams guy. Um, to begin, I'd like to echo Pat's gratitude. It's great having you here. Your story is truly humbling and inspiring. Um, and I'd like to know, I mean, what gets you out of bed in the morning? You've accomplished so much on and off the field. And today, what keeps you motivated?
Well, you know, when you walk around in society today, when you're around, you see people are struggling. You see people going through a little bit of what I went through as a kid. And Growing up, mom making only $36,000, trying to put food on the table. She sacrificed her life. And, I know mentioned my Homestead Holidays program. When I'm able to help a family and give the keys to the mother or the father, now when you actually see those kids walk in their rooms and they're so excited, I mean, that's motivating to continue to impact and help people that are trying to help themselves. So I always say in my organization, we give a hand up and not a handout. Everybody has to do their part. You do your part, I'll do my part to help you take those steps moving forward. I mean, I do that with everything that we do in the organization, from not just housing, but we have a scope program of health and wellness, financial literacy, and mental health. And everything is you have to do your part. And I think early on I was kind of, didn't know this path that I was taking because I had a grandmother who was tough. For me to eat back in the day, we always ate at McDonald's. I'm not saying let's go eat at McDonald's, but them 99-cent burgers, I had to work for it, right? I had to work to eat a 99-cent burger. And that was helping her because she cleaned houses. And I would go and help her clean, and I had to do my part, to at least eat something that day. And it's just those little things I think over the years have just taught me that just because you've made it to this level, don't mean it's time to sit back, relax, and rest, and those things. For me, it just pushes me to want to do more and do more and do more. And today I've been encouraged, by a lot of individuals. Even when I was at Florida State, I met with Coach Bowden almost like once every week and 2 weeks. I met with Coach Bowden and talked to him about life and just different things. So for me, waking up every day, it's never easy. It's always hard, right? It's tough. We all wake up, oh, let me sleep for another hour or so or lay down. But for me, you got to get up and do it again. And I have a song for that. I'm not gonna rap for you guys, but I have a song for that as well. But you got to wake up and do it again, no matter how hard it take, how hard it is, how long it takes. You got to continue to, get up and show up and be that individual that you want to be. When people see you, you want to be able to, say, hey, I did my part. What did you do? So I try to wake up and always take those steps forward. So next question.
Thank you for that, Mr. Dunn. Good morning. I'm Isaiah Desaias. I'm from New York City. I'm a receiver. Thank you for taking the time out to speak with us. Your story is truly inspiring. I did have two questions, but for the grace of time, I'm off one of them. The question I'll ask is, what's the most rewarding part from your charities like Homes for Holidays, and how does that compare to the feeling of scoring an NFL touchdown?
Well, honestly, I can't can Homestead Holidays is so much more special than the game of football,
Mhm.
right? Because a lot of what I do with Homestead Holidays is I'm reliving the dream that my mom wanted, that she had for us as a family. When you can impact a family in that way of creating stability, security, providing a place that they can call home, that oversees, football for me. But I know at the same time, when I'm on that field, when I was on that field, um, it was about how can I help and show my teammates, and do the best for my teammates. And I always wanted to show up for them. And, you know, it's kind of the game has changed night and day compared to when I was playing, but when we all get excited, you score a touchdown, we all get excited, but we also know that it's not just you as an individual that accomplished that. It's a whole team, right? For me as a running back, you have linemen, quarterback got to make the right handoff. The receivers have to block. It wasn't just about me, 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 me. A lot of times what I see today, the guys are like, it's me, 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 me. And it's really more about team, 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 because you would not be successful without those other guys around you. So for me, you know, it's a little it's a little different in parallel because one is, what I dealt with growing up in everyday life, but also the other one is the passion that I had. So they, I can't necessarily say they're the same. Obviously helping families, changing lives, impacting communities is 1,000 times more important than just the game of football, but also know that I played that game because I had so much passion for it. And I just being undersized. I mean, I don't want to say what I was. You guys are probably way bigger than me, but I went in at Florida State. I was 150 some pounds. And I had to convince Coach Bowden to give me an opportunity to play running back. Everybody recruited me there as a defensive back. So I also had a chip on my shoulder that I wanted to also go out and prove and show that this is what I can do. I can play at this level. So I challenged myself, but also I was challenged at an early age. And I say that because, I became a dual threat where I can run and catch. Because at 12 years old, my father figure who I was mad with, he moved me from running back to receiver. He said, if you're going to score any touchdowns this year, and I played rec football, you're going to have to catch it. And I was mad. But then after like 2 or 3 games, I started catching the ball and understanding defenses, and I'm seeing what quarterbacks are seeing in a sense when you're playing receiver. That only elevated my game. So even when I got to high school, I was a high school quarterback. And we ran like a pro option style offense. And I had to drop back, read coverages. So it gave me a balance in life. And um, I'm just thankful that, my father figure pushed me to not just focus on one position, but being open and trying something else. And that really helped elevated me and helped me become a better overall player. But definitely a man, because that transition from you can't just focus on one thing in life. It's different things that are going to come and happen in your life. How can you take that focus and utilize that opportunity to advance yourself, help yourself be the best that you can be? So, I love football. It's a passion, but also, my charity, what I've been doing. It's, for me, I'm just continuing to relive those moments. And I do get emotional sometimes when we do that. And I may not show it when I'm on camera, but I do go back home and I talk about um, the reactions of the individuals. And when I'm having a tough day and things that get tough, I can reflect on those moments that help me get through, because it is a purpose that I've had in my life to be able to help individuals. And that also helps me in the end. Next question.
Mr. Dunn, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here today.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate your time and your energy. My name is Chadwick. I'm a graduate safety. I'm actually from California, but I spent 4 years of my life in Louisiana. I actually had a few buddies who went to Catholic as well, wore the orange and black. And during my time in Louisiana, there wasn't tons of conversation about business or front office work. So I'm really curious for you, how did you know during your time as a player that you wanted to work in the Falcons front office after your career ended?
Well, um, well, when I was at Florida State, at first, because technology, we didn't have all these phones and the technology wasn't, really turning. So when I was at Florida State, I went to I was going to get a finance degree, but then I also thought of, information technology degree too, because I wanted to really think about the next, what's happening coming up in the world, technology wise. But when I went to Tampa, met Coach Dungy, challenge, all those things. But when I went to Atlanta, I think at the end of my career, Mr. Blank, and I had a really good relationship with Mr. Blank. He asked me, "What are you going to do after football?" He said, "You want to coach this?" I said, "No, I don't want to. I don't want to coach." I said, "I would rather just be up there with you," and I just pointed up, and and you know, I guess he took that as if, oh, you know, are you, you want to be a partner, or he wanted me a part of his organization. And when I retired, honestly, we had 3 or 4 conversations. I mean, I actually went to his house and he cooked me some food to try to convince me to become a partner of the Atlanta Falcons. And then I said, okay, let me talk to my financial advisors and really just, think if I can make this happen. And, I was just like, I'm thinking about my future, my family, the next generation, what can I build for them? And so I became a limited partner. But also, what I said is that I wanted to learn as much as I can, because that's the one thing that I think in my life that I've always been open to learning something new. And I did an internship with the Falcons when I became a partner. I was trying to learn the business side of the National Football League. I went to New York, but also met with sponsors and, different things with the team. But then I decided to go back to school and get my master's in business. And I ended up going to Emory University in Atlanta and getting my master's in business while I was also being a partner and still, learning some things. And that really helped me open my mind to like not thinking about just living for today. I think about what can I build and help be sustainable, you know, for long periods of time. So a lot of my classmates, and the funniest thing I'll tell you is that when I first went to Emory, I was in class and I had everything was just over my head. I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. And I had classmates start putting things in football terms. This is how you can understand. Say da da da. I was like, oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. And then once I had that correlation, everything just took off and just started running and sprinting. And now I understand business, relationships and the connectivity and how to grow and those things. So I have that acumen, and it takes some time, honestly, to figure those things out. And I went on that journey, but I had to like fall down a little bit and you got to learn some things before you could say you could just take off and be the best that you can be. And I'm constantly trying to learn, but I know at the same time, if I didn't go to business school, I probably wouldn't really understand, some of those business terminology, because I was in partner meetings and they were talking about things and I was like, what did they say? I mean, I don't understand. I didn't understand. And I had to have another partner try to explain a couple of things to me. But then, once I went to school and understood the overall, that really helped me. And now, I mean, I have a couple of LLCs and those things where I'm trying to build and play, create a foundation. And again, it's not just for today. It's not just for myself, and it's for, my family, the future, the next generation, because what we do today, that's temporary satisfaction. We're really talking about, we helping ourselves for this moment, but really what you're building is the foundation for your family, your futures. And that's what I would tell you, you have to think about that. And that just makes me go into the NIL today. you know, you get NIL money. I mean, you probably, most people probably don't understand. You buy Phantoms, Bentleys, Ferraris, and all this stuff. You don't understand the maintenance cost on that. And that looks good today, but what is that going to do for you for the rest of your life, for your future? How is that going to make you a better individual? Just because you're riding around in a fancy car? It's different when you have the means and you already planned for your future. You can reward yourself. And, just so you guys know, I didn't buy my first car until my 8th year in the league. And I almost caught a whooping because I didn't. I wasn't going to buy it, but I didn't buy my first car till my 8th year in the league. And, to tell you the story, I had a 1993 Mitsubishi Galant that I drove, after my mom passed, someone stole our car after my mom passed, and I ended up getting another. I had to get another car because they totaled it. So I got a 1993 Mitsubishi Galant, and I drove that car from 93 to 2000. I mean, 7 or 8. I ended up giving the car to a friend who needed a ride to go to work because he worked for Southwest Airlines at that time. So I helped him. But I mean, I drove that car when I was in Tampa, and I tell people this story all the time. I had Warren Sapp, Keyshawn Johnson. Y'all probably know their names. You know, two great individuals, high profile guys. They drive a Mercedes Benz. They drive Mercedes. I drove in, parked my Mitsubishi Galant in the middle of their car. I go out, and the one game I had a really good game that day in Tampa. I rushed for over 200 yards against the Cowboys that day. And everybody was like, I'm walking out to the car. It's like, what, you're in a Mitsubishi? I mean, people couldn't even believe it. But I was like, I don't care about that stuff. I mean, I can get from point A to point B, and I can put regular gas in my car. So I was happy about that because it was obviously cheaper, a lot cheaper back then. But the fact that, those guys, was driving, high profile cars, and I drove a car that was very low on maintenance, and I kept it for years. But it's all about how you spend your money, right? It's all about how you manage it. And I would just tell you guys, you get NIL deals, you don't need all that fancy stuff. It doesn't make you a better person. You may do some things for flash, but just think about if you spend 20% of it and invest that 80%, the rest of it, invest it and think about the next 20, 30, 40 years of your life. What type of life that you want to live, right? So that would be my challenge to all of you guys is that you get some money early on. You don't need to buy the nicest house, the fanciest car. You can get something that you need, that's going to get you from point A to point B because all of you guys going to grow up, you're going to have kids, and they're going to want to go out and get things. Prices only going to go up. But I had to learn, and the thing is, I'm a limited partner with the Atlanta Falcons. Oh, you have enough money to go do this or that. I changed my all at my house. I learned how to do that from a buddy. I learned how to do little small things just to cut the cost on going and taking my car and doing other things around the house. So, y'all, like I said, you always got to be open to learning. So I know I went on another rant, but I apologize.
No worries. No, I appreciate the insight. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Next question.
Hey, Mr. Dunn. My name's Isaiah Gomes. I'm a six-year captain on the D-line. I know you mentioned when you got the Dick Enber Award, you mentioned Coach Dungy and how he's big on getting guys involved and giving back. So what's another philosophy or lesson that he instilled that you were able to learn from at the time or that you still carry with you today?
Well, I remember I always go back and I still talk to Coach Dungy today. I go back and, it's like when as a rookie, getting drafted. I mean, the funny thing is, he asked me, why should we draft you? Why? I say, you like touchdowns? You like touchdowns? So I had to try to convince him because, again, I got drafted. I was 170 pounds. And back then, they wanted 220, 240-pound running backs. So, he looked at it and gave me a shot. But I remember coming in and he put all the rookies, he sat down and talked to us. He said, hey, I know all you guys love football. That's great, but it just can't be about football. You got to think, about your community, and challenge guys. Hey, if you think that, if you want to do something in the community, I challenge you not just to think about the game of football, but think about the people that are paying all that money to come and watch you play. Some of them are paying, a lot for those tickets. They're watching you, coming to support you. So we can't just focus on the game of football. We need to care about people in our community. And that night, you know, I honestly, I went home and I was like, wow, he said some really powerful, engaging things. And I just happened to call a friend. I said, what if I tried, what if I did this? And, you know, and my mom, she wanted a home. And what if I, you know, try to help sing? And at first it was just single mothers because I was trying to relive what my mom went through. And then I talked to one of my friends, and then the next day I went to the community relations with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to say, I have this idea. Coach Dungy talked to us the other day, and I have this idea. What do you think? If I can I do this? It's like, hey, we'll help you put it together. And I ended up doing 3 homes that one day. And honestly, I still didn't even understand the magnitude of it. But you know, once I was able to hand the keys over, and I was just like, it's just some keys to a house. I mean, you know, I didn't understand, but I didn't, once I saw the news and I saw the reaction of the mothers, and I was like, wow, that's life changing. But you know, what we did today was life changing. And I didn't have a nonprofit, it was just a program. And so I called grandmother. I said, you know, grandma, we just helped 3 mothers today, this and that, and she was like, okay, baby, okay. And and I was like, you know what? I got to take this back to Louisiana where it all started. But I think for me, it became more about, you know, not myself. I thought about, you know, how can I help other people not go through what my mother went through? Then most importantly, as I got a little older, I said, well, I want to help kids, other kids could not go through what I had to go through in losing a parent. You know, I want them to be able to have their parent here and to support them as they move forward. And because a lot of people, you know, wouldn't respond to the adversity the way that I responded to it. And you know, I come from a rough environment, a tough family as well. And the only good thing is that I know is that, you know, because when I lost my mom, those guys were still on the road. They hadn't caught those guys. And I had family members and they was about to go because, you know, the streets talk, as you guys know, right? Streets talk. And they they was hearing stuff and I wanted revenge. I wanted retaliation because they, you know, impacted my life, my brothers and sisters' lives, the entire family. So I wanted, you know, wanted to, you know, get back. And I was so, no, you need to stay here. You know, you need to make sure you look after your brothers and sisters. And um I was just thankful that they didn't ever let me ride with them to go and look because you just never know what happens. And but I think, you know, they were thinking more about, you know, it's not, you have more important things to do. And, you know, I don't talk about this a lot, but I know when I was at the hospital that night, when I talked to the police chief, I had no idea what he was saying because I didn't know my mom's life was taken. Then I get off the phone, walk into the next room, and I see my mom's body on the table and police officers surrounding her. So that made things a lot harder. But then the first thing I thought about is that I need to go home and make sure I take care of my brothers and sisters. And that night, family members made sure that you're not getting in this car. You're gonna, you know, make sure you take care of your brothers and sisters. And that just kept me on my focus of family, making sure I was, you know, picking up the pieces where, you know, that the family needed me. And I'm just thankful for that. But with Coach Dungy, he just added fuel, you know, and more guidance, more leadership. And how do I take a tragedy and help be able to turn it around and help other individuals live better lives and not go through what I went through. And I'm just thankful for him. And I mean, he's such a really great leader because he not only challenged me, but he challenged all the guys. Every class that comes in, he would challenge them to not just focus on football, but think about community, the people that you can impact, the lives that you can help. And you know, he's such a great human being and a great mentor and leader.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Mr. Dunn. First of
Sure.
all, I want to thank you for, being here today and spending time with us. I really appreciate it. I know everybody else does as well. My name is Billy Osborne. I'm a senior tight end here at Bentley from New Jersey. And my question kind of goes off of what Pat Damon had asked earlier about mental toughness, but kind of going off of your response. So one thing that you had said was, having a support group and having conversations with people and being open up to having those conversations during hard times. Um, Earlier in your career and earlier in your life, what was kind of, if you mind sharing, what was a kind of conversation or a piece of advice that you had from somebody who supported you that has remained relevant and that you think about to this day that has remained relevant in your life?
Yeah. Well, just so you know, like football, it's a team sport. We always want that locker room feel, but when you start playing pros, guys jump around, right? And I think for me, honestly, for my first 5 years in Tampa, I mean, I didn't go out, I didn't party, I didn't do anything. I played football and went home. I didn't hang out with my teammates, and I learned things later why I didn't do that. But also, too, my second year in the league, a lot of people don't know this, is that the youngest three, I moved them in with me in Tampa. So they went to high school there. So I was going to games on Fridays, PTA meetings. I was doing everything a parent would do to make sure that they, made good grades, got good grades, graduated, because one of the reasons that I moved them there is because they weren't doing well in school. And I didn't want that pressure on my grandmother. I wanted to hone up and say, hey, no, you guys are going to come live with me. You're going to move to Tampa. You're going to graduate from here, and you guys going to graduate and get degrees and go to college, period. And the thing is, I was the first in my family to go to college and graduate. So, that was, for me, that was important. But I don't think I really, I realized that I was dealing with trauma on a day-to-day basis. I didn't look at it like that. And until I went to Atlanta, when I was in a locker room, and my teammates, when I first got there in 2002, and in 2003, I was listening to a teammate talk about someone else going to counseling to play football. And I just started going to counseling to play football. I can do that in my sleep. I can, those things. And then again, I called a friend, and actually one of my best friends in Tampa. I said, I just heard this story today. What do you think? And it's like, hey, I'll help you find a counselor. And so I didn't tell anybody for a while, because I wasn't hanging out. I wasn't, partying or doing things with my teammates. I was such in a silo. I was just more about football. I was training, football, and family, and those things. And it wasn't necessarily building and connecting with, my teammates. And that's probably the biggest struggle that I had early on, is that I had relationships with guys, but I wasn't, it just wasn't, like, just wasn't normal. And for me, I started going to counseling, and I didn't tell anybody. And I can tell you guys this, is that when I first started going to counseling, the counselor, they told me, hey, this is the address, you can just pull it. I said, well, no, I play football for the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, I don't want to just walk through the front door. I don't want anybody to see me. I was so ashamed, right? I was so ashamed of it, is that I say, is there a side door that I can come in? I can park in the back, go in the side door, and they actually helped me. And I will tell you, my first time sitting in with the counselor, she asked me a question. And I literally, I talked for the next 45 minutes to an hour, and I was just crying the whole time. And I was so ashamed And so for the next 6 to 8 months, that next year, I was going to counseling, didn't tell anybody other than one of my close friends who knew about it, didn't tell anybody. And then I got to the point where my teammates in Atlanta actually started seeing me smile, laugh. I was having more fun with them. And I just became so much more confident in myself that, you know, I was just like, you know what, you know, I feel like I'm just a better person overall because I was much more engaging and everything. And so, that's when the Andrew Kramer thing, that's when I was like, I don't care what people say. They think I'm soft or weak because I went to counseling. I know that I'm a better person today for, taking those steps to show people and, having, Coach Dungy, on that path, but also the people that followed along that, I think that really helped me be be the best. But I think listening to that one story really changed something mentally that I didn't care what anyone else had to say because I was going to do what to help me be a better individual, better person. And I think a lot of times when we're hearing what people have to say and not understanding that, hey, if I go and if I'm trying to help myself and I take these steps, uh, it helps you it can help you be better. And a lot of times it's going to depend on what it is, what are you trying to accomplish. But for me, that was just like the right thing to do at that time. And just over the course of time, I told a couple of my teammates, and I have a teammate who I love to death, Fred McCrary. He played fullback uh, here in Atlanta, and we were one of those guys where you know we would argue on a football field about, hey, he didn't block the right person. He was my fullback, so I would always get on him and so forth. But he can see how much that I actually started engaging and talking to guys and now I'll go into the running backs room and I finally told all the guys about my story because I was so ashamed to talk about it. I would never talk about it. But that helped me get to that point where I'm able to express myself a lot better. And I felt much more confident on the inside. So, that path, it's steps in life that you take. You're not going to get there overnight. Sometimes you have to, take those steps to move forward. And I'm just happy that I was able to take those steps and, with Coach Dungy and just my whole journey, those years really helped me.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
How's it going, Mr. Dunn? Thank you for taking the time out of your day. My name is Mike Boutros, captain of the team, senior left tackle. Obviously, losing your mother at a young age has had a huge impact on your life. How would you say that has shaped your sense of purpose in various aspects of life, whether it's family, football, or work?
Well, it's definitely shaped my purpose because everything I do, you create values that you have and the people that I work with, they understand my expectations or things that we need to do. And I just think overall, your your journey is going to define who you are, who you surround yourself with. And for me, um, that is it's really put people in my life that not only that challenge me to be better, because I can tell you a story about my publicist. She challenged me to be better, but also, once I show them and I prove to them that I can do it, they also help you be better. So um, it does take a team on that aspect and the journey. You can't do it alone. And that's the one thing I would tell you guys. You cannot do it alone. In life, we're all going to fall down. I say this to kids today. It's like when you fall down, how are you going to get back up? It takes a village. right? It takes a village. We can't be successful on our own. It's going to take a team. And football teaches you teamwork. You know, we got to rely on each other. You got to build a solid team that believe in each other. Then if, you know, you got to, everybody has to do their part for everybody to be successful. So for me, I've surrounded myself with individuals that challenge me and very direct. And I don't want any other way. I'd rather them just tell me the truth. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Just be real. And if I'm gonna like it, not like it. But I respect that a lot more. And, you know, it could help me be better. And, you know, those things, you want to surround yourself with people that are going to help you be the best that you can be.
Warrick, I'm aware of the clock, and I think we lose you at the bottom of the hour. So any final charge words to this incredible group of men who are on the edge of their seat with every word that you're sharing?
Well, I would say, again, I mean, you guys, you know, you can't just think about yourselves. You got to think about each other as teammates. You got to challenge each other to be the best, hold each other accountable, you know, but you're not just playing for yourself and all the shine. I mean, honestly, if I could do what I would do in Homes to the Holidays, if I can do it and no one knows about it, I would do it that way. I was forced um, into this space, but you know, for you guys as a team, you're coming together. You know, push each other to be the best that you can be. Hold each other accountable. Challenge each other, right? And tough love is real love. I mean, that's just the reality of life. But you guys have an opportunity to not just build partnerships, relationships. You know, if you starting something, it's not just for today. You're building this because these are individuals and people that are going to be in your lives. I'm still friends with a lot of guys that I went to college with that they're like, I'm night and day. I don't, you know, I never talked to them that much, but you know, I was able to now reconnect with them and build that solid foundation. And you know, and I had a lot of guys who come out and supported me and, you know, just really want to be there for me. So for all of you as a team, you know, build a foundation that, you know, we're going to push each other to be the best that we can be. We're going to hold each other accountable and we're going to be there and support each other. So, because we are going to have tough days, you know, just think you have a tough moment, you should be able to pick up the phone or see someone, you talk to them and confide in them, and knowing that what happens and stays is between you two or your group or, you know, individuals. So really rely on trusting each other just to be the best that you can be, you know, and just know that, you know, in due time, it's all going to come together and you guys are going to all be in sync together, and that you're going to, you know, potentially be the best that you can be, and that's going to help you continue to move forward. So, I mean, I appreciate the time today and talking. And I didn't want to tell all you guys, I wouldn't let none of you guys, all the defensive guys, I wouldn't let y'all tackle me because I'll make y'all boop boop beep beep. I'll make y'all miss. So
Yeah, all right.
There we go. Warrick, thanks to you. Thanks to Jen. This has been an incredible gift that you've given our football program. Thanks to Coach Scarpa for bringing the guys together and having them be so well prepared. You've given us lots of lessons. I'm sure there'll be lots of conversation about this session going forward. So we'll wrap it up, let you get on to the many different parts of your day, people looking for you, and the incredible gift that you are to the community. Again, career, community, you've emphasized both, and what a role model. Warrick, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate all the questions. And you know, you challenged me to be the best. Hey, I'm gonna challenge you guys to be the best. So whoever want to race, y'all have to come down to Georgia. I'm in Georgia, so you got to come down to Georgia if you want to race. I'll start training again. So, oh, Isaiah, you ready?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I come down.
Okay, what's your 40 time? What's your 40 time?
Just this last spring, it was a 4.38.
Okay, well, I still got you. I got you. I still got
We're
you.
gonna see.
No, I appreciate you guys, man. Enjoy and
Hey,
continue.
let's agree on one thing. Let's
What's
agree on one thing. Go Falcons.
Go Falcons.
Go Falcons.
Falcons.
I like that. Go Falcons. Go
Go
Falcons.
Falcons.
Yeah,
Yes,
because the
yes.
eagle, yeah,
Eagles the
I would
done.
say eagles and pigeons, they fly different. So all day Falcons. So all
Awesome.
right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Warwick.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Dunn.
Thank you.